Various Nokia blog. If you need to buy a Nokia phone, you should check it out. I've been told that I should tell you guys about how your blog can benefit from social media. Does anybody have a blog over here? Show of hands. Yeah. Cool. All right, everyone's blog. Does anybody have a personal blog, or does anybody have a personal blog? Personal blogs, right? Do any of you have technology or other specific blogs that you want to market really well? That's wonderful. Oh, okay. All right, I'll teach you the guys the magic of getting really famous. My blog isn't that famous, but it's pretty good. It's worth checking out. Just again. So basically, what we're going to talk about is why, what, how, when, and where. These are very basic questions that you should ask yourself when you're trying to take a blog and make it really famous. The first question is why, and that's why use social media for your blog. Basically, you could write the greatest blog post in the history of mankind, but if nobody's there to read it, it's not really going to be the greatest post ever in mankind. So that's why you have to use social media to put more eyeballs in front of your content. And if you allow people to share your content using social media, like a lot of the blogs nowadays, like Mashable, for example, have a little retweet button, a little Facebook button there. Any of you have seen that? Yeah. All right. So that helps you share the content among more people. So the way I like to put it is, put your content in front of more eyeballs and help those eyeballs move on to more eyeballs. So basically at the end, you have a lot of people reading your post, which would then be the greatest blog post in the history of mankind if a lot of people have read it and read it. The second question that people ask me is, what can social media do for a blog? That's where you say, basically if you have a blog and you don't actually have a Twitter account for your blog or a Facebook page for your blog, all your blog is doing is publishing all this content, and people can just go and comment on your blog, but then it's basically a one-way communication. What you want to do is you want to get people talking on your blog and on your social media properties, like your Facebook page, your Twitter account. I have a Facebook page that for my website that does pretty okay. A couple of people will come over there and ask me a question about a Nokia phone that they might not know where to ask me that question on the blog itself. So a Facebook page or a Twitter account always opens up that channel. It makes it more convenient for people to ask you a question depending on what your blog is. For example, Ajay, the owner of this place, he has a travel blog. Many people have asked him via the Twitter account about how a trip to Leh was, or the best place to go at this time. These are questions that you might not be able to ask on the blog directly. You might not be able to find the right post or something like that. So this is how it helps connect with your readers. And if your readers are good enough, if there are other social media people, they'll help you. They'll dig your post or they'll stumble upon it, so that more people can discover it later on. And this helps build a relationship with your readers. But if you know a couple of your readers, then it increases the chances of that reader talking to you more often on Twitter, on Facebook. I have a couple of friends of mine who are also Nokia bloggers, and I know they read my blog a lot because I keep on pestering them on Twitter. I keep on telling them, hey, you should check out this post, it's awesome, it's better than your blog. But if you build a relationship with people using your Twitter accounts and your Facebook accounts, people will come and visit your blog more. In the end, your blog is your brand after all. It's a brand that you have made, and it's a brand that you have to nurture and get going. If you make it more personal and more human, there are more people who are going to interact with it, basically. And next question again, we're almost at the end here. The next question is how. How can you use social media to help your blog? Now, it's not just about setting up a presence. You can't just set up a Facebook page. This is what a lot of my rival people have done. Don't tell them that. Don't tell them. They've set up a Facebook page and they set up a Twitter account. And the Twitter account and the Facebook page is just basically another RSS feed. It just keeps on getting all of these articles in. And there's no reason to actually go to that Facebook page unless you're a friend of that person like that. And you have to like that Facebook page because you don't want to seem like the bad guy. So if you just have another RSS feed account, then no one's going to talk to your account. No one's going to come to your Facebook page and say, hey, how's it going? I want to know how to buy this phone. I want to know where I should go with this summer. So that it's not just about setting up presence. You have to have some communication going on. And then there's when. a lot of people ask me, when should I use this social media account? When should I use Twitter for my blog? Now the thing with me is I joined another service called Jaiku, if any of you have heard of that. Yeah, Jaiku, cool. So I joined Jaiku and I was like, Jaiku is the best microblogging source out there. I'm not going to use Twitter. And then I missed out on all these people who were just learning Twitter at that time. So what I tell people is, the best time to use social media for your blog is all the time. As soon as you set up your blog, set up a Twitter account, set up a Facebook page. And remember, like I said, don't just keep it there like a house to sleep. Make sure that you interact with people. But social media for your blog is something that you should always be on, should always be ready. At the same time, there are some events like right now the World Cup is going on, and my favorite team lost. It's not that. But if you have a football blog, for example, this would be the time where you really start communicating with a lot of people. You can search on Twitter, you can search on a couple other blogs maybe, and just slip your link in there maybe. But that's where you start the communication going on. If you're very active during the right moments, you'll see a lot of people coming back to your blog, visiting your blog, reading stuff over there. And it's also a good time to make those connections like that I talked about earlier, where you can make friends using Twitter over there. One of my friends forced me to enter the last part over there, where there's Fashion Week, and a lot of fashion. My friend is a fashion blogger, and she insisted I add this in. There's something called Fashion Week. I don't know about the women. But yeah, during Fashion Week, a lot of the fashion blogs are very, very active. They start posting about every single thing there are brands that I haven't even heard of that they know all about. So, there's always the event when you can actually use your blog. For my blog, there's something called Nokia World, which is coming up. And that's when I get really active. That's when I sit in front of Twitter all day and I'm like, okay, let me see what's going on. Right? Then I go to another blog and I'm like, okay, what do they post? So these events are very, very helpful. And then there's where. Now, where can you connect to social media? Now you already know that there's Facebook and there's Twitter. Set up a Facebook account, set up a Twitter account. And that's very basic. But then there's also Flickr. If you have a travel blog like this, it's very useful to get your photos on Flickr because that's where everyone will discover you. They'll see your photos and that's how they'll discover your blog via Flickr. I've done something very sneaky. I've put up my pictures of the phones I review and everything else on Flickr. And I'm actually getting a lot of traffic from people on Flickr who visit Flickr, who search for these phone models, and then they find it on Flickr. And then they come to my site through it, and I'm always like, yeah, that's a good thing I did. So there's Flickr, and then there's Orkut. I'm against Orkut. Don't tell Google I said this. I can't stand Orkut. But a lot of people I know who really want to, I have a couple of friends who are running these Twitter blogs, and most of their traffic comes from Orkut, from somebody posting a link in Orkut or them going in and posting a link in Orkut. So there's not just two social networks out there are more. Then there's YouTube. With someone like me, I do a lot of video reviews of my phone also. Like I said, my website's awesome, check it out. So I have a lot of video reviews that I do on my website. And because of that, when people search for a phone, they usually find that video review, and then they find my blog through it. So the point is basically that there are a lot of social media sites out there. Don't limit yourself with just Facebook and Twitter. There are a lot more that you can use. These are just some examples that I could come up with. So what we're trying to say is that social media can really help your blog. There's nothing bad about it. Even if you set up a Twitter account, just try and be more active on that. Connect your blog brand with your people, with your readers more. And at the end of the day, your blog is your brand. It's your brand that you have to nurture and grow. So anyway, it's a very short presentation, but that's about it. Thank you. Visit my website right there. That's my website. Check it out. All right. I'll hand it over to the slideshow team now.